Well, greetings there. Salutations. We'll be your little floating bunny man on the magical Unthink Me journey. My name's going to be Adam today, and I have a fetish for mylar balloons, to be honest with you.
Well, my name's James, and I'm a bunnyman.
Today we're just gonna kind of shrug it off. We're gonna say, like, having a topic's kind of silly. Let's be honest.
Well, that being said, our topic is psyche and consciousness.
We've been doing this four selves. There's four things that you can believe yourself to be, according to this. It's not so cut and dry. It's just a thing that you can kind of either recognize or say. But we find it useful for the purpose of growing up or waking up spiritually or maturity-wise. So we've drawn out this map that parallels with the altitudes of consciousness, the 12 stages. 4 stages: personality, ego, psyche, consciousness. Each one lives inside the bubble of the other one. And so far we've talked about the meaning of the word personality, the meaning of the word ego. That's tough. But we've kind of made it into this thingy where personality lives inside of ego. Ego acts out personalities and creates shadow persona as well. And we started to dig into psyche. So today I think we're going to try and flesh out that whole model.
I also find it very generous that you say we. I had no part of this. I recognize it. I love it. It's a very tangible thing, but I had no part in the creation.
It's the royal we, dude.
Yeah, that's very nice.
We're just taking this stuff out of the ether, like, who's to say where it originates? We draw some of this back to famous psychologists such as Freud, Jung, and more recently Lacan, because I've been getting into French, and he's a famous French guy. So four stages, 4 selves mini model is kind of like the Unthink Me version of an idea that exists in integral theory and Ken Wilber's work.
So we had some hard in the sand, not disagreements, just a discussion about the definition of ego, the definition of personality. So now we've got psyche and we've got consciousness. Let's get into some definitions just to put an even playing field on the discussion.
You raise a great point that these terms are understood. These are words that people use, and they don't necessarily mean them specifically. We mean them somewhat specifically, but your mileage may vary in terms of what field you're coming from or how you may interpret these words. So lots of semantics, lots of need to define our terms and say what we're actually talking about. Now, if you like the way James's forehead looks and you want to give him a little kiss, the best way to do that is with that like button down there. That means to society that we're popular and worthy. Also, that subscribe, that does nothing at all except make us successful as people. So even if you don't like us, if you just want to give the underdog a leg up, go ahead and hit that one too. Can you think of anything else that they could do to serve us?
Well, so I'm going to like, and then I'm going to subscribe, and then I'm going to talk the biggest ever down in the comments.
That's right.
Worst show I've ever seen. 5 stars.
Yeah, let's hear some negativity. We don't get a lot of negativity. We get a little bit.
That's amazing.
Surprisingly, when I talk about politics, not a whole lot of hate there. Yeah. Well, because everybody has more extreme opinions than I have, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's like a feather on the great torrent of madness.
I mean, if you really want to get into it, you could join our groups on Discord. And, you could, once we get enough on there, it goes public, and then we'll really get some trolls in there.
That Discord's been an evergreen. It's beautiful for conversation flow.
Yeah.
A very intellectual crowd. I tell them all the time, you guys, if you just recorded what you're saying, it would be better than our show. So I don't get where you're coming from here.
Yeah.
Not everyone has no shame as we do. So there you go. Love you guys. Thanks for sticking with us for so long and being so beautiful. And we're going to keep this train a-rolling.
And that's the show.
4 selves, baby. Yeah, that's the end of the show. We just, would you go for the buck knife with the Unthink Me logo?
Is it serrated?
We're going to put this in the community post. Let us know what kind of merch you guys want. I'm dead serious.
Yeah, we are about to launch some merch. So now, step 1, what should we launch?
Listen here, man. I would love to have a black or gray T-shirt with the levels on it. A nice conversation starter. I would love that shirt. I would wear that shirt if I weren't a part of this. I would have worn that shirt 10 years ago.
I will say that I'd be first in line to buy something that I funded if it were a hoodie. My wife has every hoodie from every place we've ever gone. Hoodies, I think, sell like crazy. So if you like a hoodie, let us know.
So the contention here, I suppose, is instead of 12 stages, we're going to divide that sucker by, what do you call it, 3 to make 4 stages.
That's right. That's right.
Sort of like the tiers. There's 3 tiers. It's very similar. The first tier is what we're calling personality and ego. It's everyone you interact with in the world is generally, as an adult, an ego running various personalities, personae, and having shadow.
Running
and
situational programs.
Yeah, just having that overarching operating system of the ego, and then having these subprograms to interact with whatever your needs are, whatever the context is, and generally not being terribly aware of the psyche, the constructs that generate this, the sort of things that psychiatrists historically are digging into and trying to understand. How does this generate pathology? Why do we have these like secret voices in our head telling us to do things or motivating us in ways that we're not even, in the front of house, we're not even like, I think it would be a great idea to have a piece of chocolate cake. It's probably not a great idea, really. But is it that it tastes so good?
Underlying motive is going to choose yes or no. Consciously or subconsciously, you either are or aren't going to have that. So what's the driving factor way down below is what we're trying to dig into.
In the subconscious, in the upbringing, how your programming was started, what they call hardwiring. I've been dealing with addiction a good amount recently, having to, the main product of that is that I fart a lot, but I quit 3 drugs at once. And my stomach's very mad at me, and I barely sleep. My sleeping is very funny. It's like you don't quite sleep and you don't quite wake up, and you have like narcoleptic fits throughout the day. So that gets into the realm that generally we're exploring in psychology and deep self-work and forms of therapy meant to address really hard constructs of the self that are kind of not visible to you. That if, say, it was really important to me if I was diabetic or something, now I can't have chocolate cake. Now I need to know why in the hell I can't stop myself from eating chocolate cake. Now it's a problem. It may be for some people or maybe not. So this is kind of clinical psychology, fixing problems. That's basically what we do with psychology, is clinical. But there's also, instead of fixing problems, making yourself better in spite of not really having any particular problems. This positive psychology. This also is going to get into exploring the psyche. And one particular way that we've been doing that is dream work. Just trying a little bit harder to remember our dreams, to be more conscious through our dreams, and to abstract symbolism that might be pertinent to that hardwired programming.
Are you getting clues in your dream state?
And all of this pertains to that, what we're calling that layer or level of psyche, which generates ego, which generates personalities. Okay. So one more level beyond that, psyche level, which in terms of altitudes, you might say the psyche level is sort of stage 7, 8, 9, maybe, teal, turquoise, indigo. If we're looking at long-term structures, like who you are as a person. The person who is psyche curious, psyche explorative, the person who it's like an actual need for them to understand their own psyche, who I am, what I should do. That person is sort of showing up at those levels, maybe. Psyche levels here for 7, 8, 9, maybe. Something like that. Maybe. Now getting into consciousness, that's sort of what we've been calling third tier, getting into stage 10, 11, 12. And of course, consciousness is ever present. It is exactly what you think it is. It's that you're here, that there's a person inside here, looking out through these eyes, having these thoughts, having this experience. But for thousands of years, all throughout history, in some of the most fundamental literature of our species, spanning continents and time, these people are saying, if you experience consciousness all by itself, without psyche or ego or personality, but just pure consciousness, this is, for one thing, a spiritual or religious experience as perceived by you. This is gnosis, or a sense of union, communion with God, Godhead,
An awakening.
Spirit, an awakening onto your spiritual nature. Yeah. And that can be a little bit strange. Like, how exactly would you know that you're having that experience, that experience of pure consciousness?
I would say you wouldn't.
Yeah.
I would argue when that happens, you wouldn't. It's only hindsight that tells you, oh, I was there a moment ago and now I'm here. I can only see there from here. I can't see there from there.
Right. And that thing that claims it, I had that experience. I am having that. That's more ego again. That's like
Right.
convincing people of something. So when you see Eckhart Tolle, for example, really popular, all there is now, just this moment, just now, just conscious. That's he's articulating this. The
Yeah, he's not wrong. It's not wrong, dude.
So all throughout history, people are finding, there's these weird things you can do, and in my case, I say pretty much meditation, contemplation, meditation. They kind of go hand in hand. While you're here, you're wondering, who am I? What is the nature of this experience? What is reality? And then meditation is an actual, like, practicing it. You're just sitting there saying, like, okay, a thought happened. Why did that happen? An emotion happened. What is that? What am I looking at? And then I like to describe it like a cat staking out a mouse hole. You're just like, if that mouse comes out, I'm going to catch it. And over time, it gets completely silent. Because it's alert.
So singularly focused.
Paying very close attention to something that hasn't happened yet. It's a silencing of the mind. In Zen, you ask an impossible question, a koan, what is one hand clapping? What the hell is one? What do you mean? Like, no, it's two. Like, what? Like this? No. It's just as you think about this impossible question, there's a sense of liberation from resolution, from answering questions, resolving pain. This moment is it's all that there ever is. It's just this thing. And then a bunch of stuff is piled on top of it, and we imagine ourselves traveling through time as a human personality, human ego, trying to fix things, help people. Nothing wrong with that. I've never had any problem with that. But apparently, according to humanity, there's this thing that sets you free from suffering and mortality, which is just abiding in that state of witnessing and being pure consciousness. If you recognize that you can do that, you are in a sense immortal, because this thing occurs before time is created. There's never any moment where a living creature is dead. It's always alive. There's a moment where it's about to die, and then supposedly it doesn't exist anymore. I'm not saying what happens then. I don't know. Maybe it goes on, maybe it vanishes, maybe it falls asleep. But nevertheless, the whole time you're here, consciousness is pretty much identical. It's this simple feeling of being. Probably the same in a puppy dog or a blade of grass. Don't know, again, but in my case, it's always been just that this is here, that this is happening, and within that, time is happening, I'm getting older, circumstances occur, I'm suffering, I'm pleased, I have joy, relationships. And in that just consciousness, we're, in a sense, identical with one another and with the universe itself. Because for some reason, the physical matter of the universe became us, became you and me, became Adam. Adam has this consciousness. Where did that come from? Well, it came from the universe, I should assume. So the universe seems to have this intrinsic desire to be more consciousness, to be more awake, to be more present, to experience itself happening. And through greater and greater lenses of consciousness, greater and greater cognitive aptitudes. The consciousness level can be very simple in the Eckhart Tolle thing, in the Zen thing, or it can be rather elaborate. Today's sort of integral ideas, we're embracing a lot of different ideology, and it seems like it isn't simply becoming free and becoming enlightened, but it gets into this non-dual thing that Buddhism does go into. not just freedom, but freedom of increasingly complicated forms, freedom while engaging in the marketplace. So this shatters a lot of the escapism of spirituality and a lot of the nihilism. People are afraid of this idea of enlightenment because it means that you're not yourself and nothing matters. All that business. It's just an option. If you're on death row, if this is it for you, if you're horribly suffering, you have this option of freedom, of abiding in the witness. But you also have this bodhisattva option of you could do exactly the same stuff that you've always done. You could be the same person, but have access to pure consciousness and just that understanding that freedom is a millimeter away from you all the time. That's sort of a real Englishified version of the non-dual realization, the enlightened Buddha enlightenment, the middle way. Form
So it's comfort
and
just because it's there and accessible. Not necessarily that you've accessed it all the time, but knowing it's there is comfort.
In a religious sense, yeah. In a religious sense, for people who aren't even interested in experiencing the state, yeah, just to know that can occur, that probably will occur when you're at your worst.
Mm-hmm.
Watching people who are transitioning into passing to death, and how a lot of times, they'll describe like, oh my gosh, this whole thing is a dream.
This overwhelming calm and peace flooded over me.
Yeah. And notions of afterlife, of heavenly realms, hellish realms, I suppose, too. Near-death experience of ancestors, angelic beings. I believe these to be psychological in nature, but that's neither here nor there. Just the sense that there is a freedom, the sense of imprisonment that we have here is somewhat a practical, necessary illusion, samsara, in the Indian sense. It's sort of an illusion that we create in order to be more productive.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like, why do we feel pain? What's the point of pain? What's the point of fear and pain? Why not just not have those? Well, we'd go and jump off a cliff because it's fun, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh my!
I should assume. I mean, otherwise, let's get rid of pain and fear. Pointless. It's just stupid. Why would we do that?
Survive for survival.
Yeah.
Down at like beige or what is it? Ultraviolet, not ultraviolet, infrared. You got to survive.
It serves a purpose.
Painful things can kill you, and fear keeps you out of the situation that can kill you.
And
primally, but I mean, you're afraid to stand up and talk to a group of 100 people. That's bullshit human fear. That's not real fear.
And on that instinctual level too, like boning and dying is how we make our genetic code better. Mm-hmm. Boning and dying.
Got to make new humans.
But in that level of consciousness, it is just kind of a game. We've programmed fear and pain and death into our nature. We've made that so in order for a practical purpose to make more matter awake.
That's right.
So that the surface of the planet gets up and sings and dances and has the great tragedy of being, because it's interesting. It's the divine play. Really weird way to think about things, right? Not very normal in our culture.
Mm-hmm.
But this is what we're saying, this, at least one should recognize that whatever quirks you have, whatever personality, whatever story you have, nevertheless, we all have in common that we're experiencing. And
True.
The fact of experience in isolation is what we're calling this level of consciousness. Inside of that, a psyche manifests and then rolls out these other features that are wonderful. And getting in more to like the work of it, the cleaning up and the work of like new age spirituality or self-help. If you have these recognitions, you're recognizing psyche more, you're becoming familiar with that manifest content, you're recognizing consciousness more, you're seeing freedom and liberation and just pure being as a potential. You have to kind of go back down here, cleaning up, look at who you are, who you play as, what your role in life is, with those structures as informing, and you bring all these stages into alignment. This is the non-dual character.
Mm-hmm.
This is the integral character. We're trying to balance and align these things. Old schoolers, ascetics, monks, are just saying, okay, all those lower levels is nonsense. Forget about it. We don't watch movies. We don't have fun.
Mm-hmm.
And get rid of that. Go into a cave, become enlightened. That's the point. That's the goal.
And stay there.
That you are God. That time is over. Nothing matters. That's just a choice. But now time has passed. We don't all. We're in a world that's kind of like awesome.
You're allowed to be. Those monks and things weren't allowed to be, so they had to escape society to be allowed to do this quest for enlightenment, awakening, full consciousness, whatever. They weren't allowed to do that. Either you're going to work really hard for the emperor, or you're going to be killed. We have such a luxury now. Look at my cousin. He's broke as shit. Doesn't do anything.
Right.
He's not kicked out of society.
Right. These priestly classes, it was like a class of people, at least in Indian culture. It was like you were born into that. Like, not everyone can do this. It's not for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
It's for a special chosen people who have already been through all those lifetimes before. Or you simply have nothing, you're a beggar.
Are you talking about the yogis, or are you talking about the untouchables in Indian culture?
Both. Yeah, I'm talking about the what was the priestly class? I actually don't remember the Brahmin. Was it just Brahmins?
I think so. Well, the untouchables were opposite of what it sounds. They're like the very bottom, lower than humans.
Yeah,
they're kind of born into that too. Digging your way out of that, you got a lifetime of struggle.
And just because we didn't have the technology or resources that everyone has the privilege of being able to spend time exploring their nature or whatever, this is a silly time. So we have this amazing abundance now, and we actually can live these like integral non-dual lives where we could give some sort of service to every stage of our being and balance and integrate that. This is very new. Has come to light, man.
Yeah, we're getting to the point in the stage spectrum that there's no history to say individual and societal growth compare as such. Red, Romans, war, all that. We're at a point now where this is it. We're comparing ourselves to right now. It's different. Never happened before.
It's a new approach to spirituality in a certain sense. I mean, it's hundreds of years old, whatever. It's
hundreds is just nothing.
More than 1,000, but
blink of an eye.
Blink of an eye. That's kind of the call of this form of spirituality is aqua latus, all quadrants, all levels, all lines, all types, all states, being as much as you can be as consciousness inhabiting form. Really cool time to participate in.
You have the luxury of time. Time and like nobody gets outcast from society anymore unless you're a homeless person in Bellevue, Washington. No one's cast out. Then they give you a bus ticket back to Seattle.
No, you're cast out of that town, but you're
I mean, okay, there are a few
exiled.
Exactly. Thought I told you not to come around here anymore.
And so, the level of consciousness is pretty easy in a sense. I mean, it's not easy to achieve, but easy to describe, really. AI can describe it. Yeah. It's a thing it's like, pay attention and question this. That's kind of the rules. Like, there's all these different spiritual, meditative, transcendental traditions, all kinds of stuff you can do. But the bottom line is, pay very, very close attention, just consciousness, just awareness, take it seriously, meditation. Just like, what the heck? What is this? And then don't answer it because you don't know. Just seriously, what is this? You tell me what's going on here. And then a predictable progression of things tends to happen as you do that, which is.
I took the other route. You talk about meditation quite a bit, which is very effective and works for people who give it a chance. I took the emotional tragedy route, where things had gotten so bad that I just gave up on feeling bad about it.
Mm-hmm.
And that sort of temporarily shot me up into the area of empathizing and being cool with everything as it was. I didn't meditate to get there. I just suffered a lot mentally.
Meditation is sort of like you're talking about like a waking up glimpse, how do you get that first sense that this story is
It's
not
something's
quite what it
there.
appears?
Yeah.
Oftentimes that is by being utterly destroyed, the unimaginable, whether that's physical pain and death, being imprisoned, just having your heart broken over and over again, being a failure at so many things. It just seems to things that really shatter the self and make it impossible to continue. So you're not continuing. Now what? You're just, okay, no, seriously, how is this? What is this? And that gives you the glimpse. And I think that kind of from there, if it doesn't stick with you, if it doesn't end up becoming a permanent trait or who you are, that's where you start going, okay, I'm going to like start reading about like, how do people do this? Like, how do you rediscover that? And then you kind of will tend to find something resembling a meditative practice or a spiritual tradition or a self-help program or Scientology, like whatever it is for you, And same here, I've had those kind of spontaneous wake-ups, and I just try, like the meditation work is slow and boring a lot of the time. It's not like fun the whole time. It has kind of waves. You're not supposed to qualify the experience, but you do.
I mean, you're a human. And you're allowed to be.
It seems to be one of the better ways of inducing this, making this happen, waking up, growing up. Not the only. And then, so those kind of shocks, meditation and contemplation, just accessing flow states, being really absorbed in what you do, and questioning, who am I really? Am I dreaming? Is this a dream? How would I know if this were a dream?
It's been around.
Did I program this simulation? Am I doing this? Am I torturing myself right now? Am I getting off on this? Who's watching me right now?
Probably are torturing yourself right now.
Most likely. I mean, the ego is sort of more like the super ego is a real mean-spirited fellow.
We were talking earlier about catastrophe and how we view things, and money plays a lot into it. You can't really die from being poor. Not in the U.S. society. It can happen with like, you're not dying from being poor, you're dying from lack of shelter and stuff like that. Disease. But you can die from the stress of thinking about losing everything. Give yourself anxiety, hypertension, heart attack, like just worrying so much. You can worry yourself to death.
Yeah. Or getting reckless, addiction. I mean, this is generally how we die in America, is worry, stress, fear. Because we're protected from like disease, largely protected from like hunger, disease, cold,
Relatively.
Well, so there we've broken out that's our 4-stage mini model, 4 selves. We hope you enjoyed it, and let us know in the comments. I'm sure we said some things clumsily, we got some things wrong, and I'm sure you have lots to say about this notion of consciousness, pure consciousness.
Thanks
so give us
for joining us.
Give us
I love you.
As above,
I hope you love yourself a little bit, and we'll work on it.
Yeah. May we find that consciousness in isolation or just in the present moment in any way, shape, or form that it may arise. All consciousness is good consciousness, I always say.
This is bad consciousness.
Where do you get?
Somebody gave me some somebody sold me some bad consciousness.
Did you get that on that doorbuster sale? Black
no,
Friday,
it was at a Fish concert.
We're having. Oh no. Yeah, that's coming. That's gonna come pretty soon for me. Yeah, I got some of that going on. Our doorbuster sale is just pure consciousness. Here it is. Enjoy. Go for it right now. What do you have to lose? Do you have any time right now? Do some meditation right now. Can you just be pure consciousness? Can you please stop thinking? Stop being a person. Stop generating mind. Can you? Am I lying?
Cover.
Yeah,
everything?
I think we fit a show into a reasonable time frame there. I think we did it. Another thing for you health nuts, I'm actually genuinely curious. I've been, is there anything wrong with drinking herbal tea? Other than, like, in case apple seeds have arsenic or, like, too much ginger could be, but just Isn't herbal tea healthy? Because I plan to drink lots and lots and lots of herbal tea. I don't want to be.
I argue that it's not necessarily healthy, but it's not detrimental either. I think you're just okay.
It should just be like chewing on plants and drinking water, hot water. So it seems pretty solid. Yeah, not like good for my health, but I'm just saying, if it detracts from my health, I want to know, and I want to.
I got a buddy. He OD'd on some chamomile.
Yeah, right.
Never
Turmeric
to death.